What is going on, everybody? Ed back with SLVRsport with a little bit something different today. As I had promised you guys before, I've been meaning to work on this, but we're going to go through how I shop for wax and the pros and cons of the different sites I use to hopefully educate you if you buy boxes from time to time. So to start out, we'll go through the 5 W's real quick. Who I am, Ed from SLVRsport. I shop these sites and others daily for the last 3 years, pretty much. I've probably purchased over 1,000 hobby boxes in that time, and usually spend in between 5 and 10K a month on hobby boxes, right? Mostly football. I've had positive experiences and purchase experiences with each of these websites that I'll talk about. But a little bit of a disclaimer, right? I'm not a sports card expert. I don't claim to be a sports card expert. I don't have any inside information. I buy like a regular customer, like all of you would, I'd assume, from each of these sites. And so because I spend so much and run the YouTube channel, I spend a lot of time shopping for the best deals, trying to save a few bucks here and there when I can. This info is basically my opinion based off of my experience, and that's it. Also, another little note, all these places run a business, have different overhead costs depending on what they're doing. I'm not trying to rain down on anybody's business practices or do any of that. Again, I use all of these different sites for different reasons at different times, and I'll explain that a little more as we get through. So what we'll talk about today is where I get the best deals on hobby boxes, including shipping cost, shipping speed, whether you pay tax or not, and then pros and cons of each of the sites based on my experience. So why are we going to talk about this? People are paying too much, flat out, right? There are some websites where I watch where people are paying $100, $200, sometimes too much for a particular hobby box, where you can find it somewhere else much cheaper. So we're basically doing this to inform customers and consumers like me who rip boxes, and so you shouldn't overpay. And I think if we do that and teach people to shop around, maybe we can bring the market down together. Okay, where we'll be looking at all the following sites. We'll get to that as we get through. And then how do you save money? You shop thoroughly and try to get the best deals based on your priorities. You reward those sites who are being less greedy at a given time, I guess you'd say, and make your purchases from them. Again, that's going to be different for everyone based on your priorities. Is shipping speed a priority for you? Is cost the most priority for you? It's going to be different for everybody, but we'll try to get through some of those things here to help you at least start paying attention to some of these sites if you're not already. Okay, so we will start out with Blowout. As you can see up here on the screen, Blowout is probably the most popular and the biggest wax retailer on the web that I'm aware of. There's some other big ones too, but I think this is the primary. They appear to be like the center of the wax ecosystem. I know, talking to Maya LCS, they often base their prices off Blowout. So, you know, these guys are a big driver of the market, and there's some negatives to that for all of us, right? But the pros of this website, and again, I buy from them too, but I often use them as a barometer on where I can go find it cheaper, right? Pros, fast, free shipping, right? So what you see on the price of a box is what you pay, right? There is no tax, there is no shipping charge, and they generally ship the same day, or if you're ordering in the later afternoon, by the next day, it's shipped out and on its way to you in 3 days or less. The site is pretty easy to navigate. They have a ton. They probably have the biggest selection, at least that I go through, of pretty much all wax, so you can find pretty much anything, and then at least use that as your starting ground to go compare prices. They do have great customer service. Anytime I've ever had an issue, when I email, I reach out to them, I get immediate response, and the problem gets taken care of if there is one. You can often, one of the other positives of this is you can often find deals on older product. Newer product is a little harder to find deals. They're usually at the higher end, if not the high end. But you can find some deals from time to time, especially like Black Friday and other big sales like that. You can find some really good deals on older wax, which we like to rip for the channel. is fun, and sometimes you can find some really good budget buys. Another good benefit of this is if you get a pre-sale from Blowout on a new product that's coming out, say next week or 2 weeks from now, they normally ship the night before because they're the biggest and they have the most, probably the strongest network in the hobby, I would guess, right? They get the product early and they generally ship it the night before, in my experience. So that means it's already on its way to you on release day, and you'll probably get it the day after, maybe 2 days after release at the latest. So that's a pro. They are, another pro of Blowout in particular is they seem to update their prices and website pretty much daily. They're the most responsive to market fluctuations, both up and down. And where many sites will follow them on the way up, when the market starts to drop, they'll often be the first to start dropping prices, and other sites will lag behind. So when the market starts to drop, sometimes you can find some deals there too. Okay, so cons of Blowout. They are usually the most expensive for new products and pre-sales, sometimes by a very wide margin. For example, they've got, I think they were $150 more expensive for Select in the week after release, maybe even $200 more expensive than you could find it in other places. And so 2022 PRIZM right now is $200 more on their site than you can find it on other sites, which we'll get into later. So often they're the highest end of the wax market. And again, they're a big company, probably got a ton of overhead. They do a lot of stuff in the hobby, right? So it just is what it is. But again, the first place I'm always looking to see. And another pro of them too, which I didn't mention before, is they often have, the schedule of release dates of products way in advance. And when changes happen, they update them quickly so you know if a product's been delayed or not. And, with Panini in particular, sometimes they're pretty slow to communicate to their customer base. So I often read the tea leaves from Blowout if products are getting pushed back. Another side note here, I have a little bit of a theory that they sell in bulk. So I guess this is just based on my experience and me trying to put the two together. And I think that they sell to a lot of breakers and things like that in bulk by case. So I think, maybe it makes sense to me that they price their individual boxes and cases really high on their website so that they can still get full retail to those guys who are buying in bulk, and those guys who buy in bulk think that they're getting a deal, and then they can sell their breaks at the higher price that's listed on Blowout. Anyway, that's just a little side note, inflating the market, all that stuff, right? I don't know if it's true or not. I also think that they're in cahoots directly with Panini to control the market, but that's probably a discussion for another day. Could probably do a whole video on that. And again, that's just based on my observations as I watch the hobby and watch the wax market every day. Okay, so let's roll through their website here real quick. Again, pretty easy. I'll show you how I shop through each of these websites. And basically, so for Blowout, it's pretty easy, right? I roll right down to 2022. You do got some, click onto sports, roll down to 2022. And then I go down here and I usually click this little up arrow right here. And that flips me to the newest first, right? So it's really easy to get to what I'm looking for, which is the newest products, usually. And you can scroll down and you can see all of the releases coming up. And if you click on them and go inside, you can find out what the estimated release date of them is as of right now. So you can scroll down right here. You can see Panini 1 is on sale for $4.64 a box. It's $3.99 a box on Panini and not sold out right now. So that can tell you how far above they are. Now with Panini, you have to add tax. But you'd still be cheaper than this getting it from Panini. And then the other thing with Panini is you'd wait for 3 days for them to even ship it out of their warehouse, probably, right? So, but that's just an example of what I was talking about with the price at the top end of the market. Chronicles here is not too much further, too much higher than everyone else, but you can find it in the 300 range on a lot of websites right now. So there you go. That's pretty much that. And you can go through, again, if you're looking for 2023 football, and you can do this with all of your stuff. Again, now that I've already got the arrow up top, the newest release dates are up here and it goes in order by their release. So you can see this stuff, Leaf Metal just came out recently. And then Chronicles, Draft Picks, Football. The Dutch auction already happened on that. And that product will be releasing next week. So that's Blowout. Okay, so let's move on to Dave and Adams. So over here, they are pretty much the same thing as Blowout in my experience. They've got a huge inventory, all the same pros really that Blowout does, right? They got a large selection, fast free shipping, no tax. What you see on a box price when you're shopping is what you will pay out the door. And it will be shipped fast the same day or the next, depending on when you order it. Pretty much all the same stuff. You can find, like Blowout and DA Card World, you can find deals on older wax. If you time it right and are paying attention, you can find some good deals on older stuff if that's what you're into. With DA Card World, you can also accrue points. So if you spend a lot of money with them, you can get small discounts. They move you up levels and give you, free packs of stuff, whatever. And then they give you a small discount on what you're paying for boxes. Cons of DA Card World. Again, great customer service. Again, I don't really have any customer service with any of the issues with any of these guys. I've done business with all of them. They've all been pretty good customer service. Everybody I'll talk about today, with the exception of one, which we'll get to, and you can probably guess who it is, right? So DA Card World. Cons. The site is not really user friendly, right? So like when you go to Blowout and all these other ones, I can go right to football cards and I can go right to 2022. And with other websites, when I get here, I can change this to newest, but I can't on DA Card World. I can go price high to low. They've got all these cases. Right now I'm seeing Bowman and Bowman U or whatever they want to show me on the first page, and I have to go hunt or search for the box that I'm looking for. This would be a lot better if I had new releases right up here at the top, right? Now they do have this little thing, new football releases over here on the left if you click on that. But again, then it's cluttered with all of their own repack stuff, right? Which I have to filter through and find what I'm looking for. So when I'm like looking for a particular new product or an upcoming product, it's a lot harder for me. It takes me more time to find what I'm looking for. So yeah, when they got case prices and all that stuff, you can see they're at $474 for Panini 1, where we were just looking at on Blowout, $65. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. They do have, you can find this here, these daily deals. I often take a look at this, and you can click it here. Now on my iPad, I used to be able to do this. I can't do it on my iPad anymore, but here on the website I can. I can go buy football and click right down to that box. Sometimes they've got good deals here. Oftentimes it's still overpriced compared to other retailers, but it is a good place to check. And when you do like the Black Friday deals and all that stuff, a lot of those you can find good deals again on older wax. And you guys, if you watch the channel, you've probably seen a bunch of those older boxes I've done, and I often am shopping for them in places like this when there's sales and they've got them up here in the front. Okay, moving on. Now I did put Card Collector 2 up here, because I did start paying attention to this website, I don't know, a year and a half ago. He really blew up in the hobby, right? Seems like a really genuine guy. And so, I keep an eye on his website. I will say I don't buy much from him anymore because he's usually at the top of the market, top of the price range for what I'm looking for, newer products. But you can find, go to packs and boxes here, you can find some deals here, especially on some older stuff, or there might be stuff that I'll scroll through here and see, and it'll spark my interest. Maybe I'm not looking for it, but as I scroll down the first page, I see 2015 Rookies and Stars, and I've bought that, ripped it on the channel, and I thought that was a really fun rip, even though it's 2015. For $150, that's a pretty good budget rip. Again, not a lot of ceiling in that product, but fun to rip for cheap, right? And then, so yeah, you can see, but again, on the newer products, he's often going to be near the top, but you can find different stuff, and then you can filter it out by football, which is what I normally do, or, you can do it by whatever sport you're here. Yeah. There's the white sparkle packs right there, $600 a pack. That's insanity. FOTL Panini 1. Yeah, so Card Collector 2. So again, I have purchased them from them before. I think this site also charges tax, so you've always got to take that into account when if you're looking for a particular box and trying to find the best deal. you have to balance what you're going to pay at checkout, right? Whether there's tax and shipping included, you might still find it cheaper on Blowout or Dave & Adams sometimes. So that's it for Card Collector 2. Moving on to the site that everybody knows most likely and loves here, Panini. Just wanted to talk about this a little bit, right? So I check Panini daily for new stuff and information. If you're looking for release day stuff, there are generally cheaper or better places that I'll talk about later in the video to find them. Although generally on release day, Panini's been moving more and more towards keeping more of the product themselves and keeping more of the profit margin themselves, which makes sense if you're running that business, right? But Panini does charge tax, and I don't know if that changes depending on what state you live in, but they do charge me tax, and it's often a pretty stiff margin. They don't charge shipping on wax, but they do charge that tax, which on a bigger hobby box, $400 or $500 can mean $50-$60 more expensive. Okay, so other pros of Panini, they are the source, right? So you ain't got to worry about anybody fishing through or weighing your boxes, right? They ain't got time for that. They're just pulling them out of cases and shipping them out, right? Another pro, the FOTL Dutch auctions. These used to be a place to get really good deals, but over the last couple of years, I think it's turned into more of a place where all the breakers and the big guys, Blowout and all them, go and buy it all up, right? So it's harder to find good deals on the FOTL stuff nowadays, but it kind of sets the market for a product before the product releases, right? The site is pretty easy to navigate, and then, generally on release day, they will be lower than Blowout, but then many other sites, once they find out what Panini's charging on release day, they will undercut them, so you can find it cheaper pretty much anywhere else after taxes and shipping and all that stuff. Okay, cons of Panini. Could go on for days about this topic. That's probably a whole separate video, but you guys probably know most of that yourself if you pay attention in the hobby. They do charge tax, so you'll pay more. I already talked about that. If you get those Panini reward points and you go to buy stuff from the rewards page here, go to that real quick. If you go to buy this stuff, they will charge you shipping, right? So if you pulled 150 points out of your $400 box instead of the autograph you were supposed to get, you can flip that 150 points for this Goga Bitadazi here, but it will cost you $9+ in shipping. So really, you paid for that hit twice, right? Just my opinion on that, but they do charge shipping there, which is something I think they should not do since they already took it from you when you bought the hobby box originally. So we talked about them charging tax, talked about the charge in shipping if using rewards points. They are legendary for their bad customer service, right? You and I, people buying individual boxes, are not their priority, and it shows in everything that they do, right? For example, today is Sunday, July 2nd. I paid for 2 boxes of Chronicles draft picks in the First Off the Lines Dutch auction on, I think, Wednesday, the 26th, 28th. We made it through Friday, and they did not ship my box. The product releases Wednesday. 4th of July is Tuesday, so they won't ship until release day. So, they went on their weekend and just left all of us customers who sent them money to hang for 4 more days. Just standard Panini protocol, right? They are slow to ship. If you do order boxes that aren't release day stuff, or even if it is release day stuff, they're generally slow to ship. They're not going to be like Blowout and DNA Card World. They're not going to ship the same day, in my experience, right? It might be the next day. It might be 2 days. If it's First Off the Line, it might be a week or more before they ship it. So you just never know. You're rolling the dice. So if it's important to you to get it in a reasonable amount of time, probably not a great place to shop, right? So yeah, so there's that. And then let's go to the store here. So here you can see the First Off the Line. There's nothing right now pending. That will probably update next Wednesday as new products for first off the line show up. But generally, just go to trading cards over here, and then you can see all the different stuff. You can sort it by sport, you know, football, and then here you go. And then some of the stuff there'll be prices on. But again, generally, if they've got it up here, you can find it on one of these other websites cheaper. Looks like Limited finally sold out at $249. That was up there for a good month, right? But often their products sit for a long time recently, right? If they're not the most popular products. Okay, moving on from the biggest retailers, we're going to start getting into some other stuff now. So this one I had just been following for a few months. I think I purchased something from them a while back. So I had a good experience with them at some point. But I did see that a lot of people who were finding the cases of optic blasters, so you could guarantee yourself a pull downtown, and cases of Select, they came out on this site, Card Giants. Now I missed it because I didn't know about it, so I didn't get any of those. And then I get on here and I just see all this different stuff. But this is a place, again, they got these discount codes up here across the top. You can find some good deals on retail cards if that's what you're looking for. So it might be a good place to check out. But again, I don't have a bunch of pros and cons on them other than you can find good deals on retail and that there's the potential of getting new product by the case if you're quick enough. Okay, moving on. We got one more here, Mealy Pops. So I have been shopping these guys, I think since I've really found out about these guys probably around the time I went to the National in 2021. They had a booth set up there, had some pretty good deals on wax prices. So I started following them after that. Again, you can find good deals here. I'm not sure if they're paying tax now. I haven't bought from them in quite some time because while sometimes they do have competitive prices, when I start comparing them across the spectrum of where I look, I can sometimes find it cheaper. But they may be charging tax now, which impacts their ability. But their pros are they're generally competitively priced, and it's one more place to compare to kind of get an idea of the market of the particular box you're looking for. Often, another con of theirs basically is a couple of cons. I think they may charge tax and some shipping, so there's some kind of extra cost there. It's not what you see, what you get. And then often their best deals, I'll come across and be like, oh, that's a really good deal on a newer box, and I'm looking at it, and I go to click at it, and I go to check out, and it's only if they're breaking it live for you, so you can't get it shipped to you. So if you enjoy ripping it yourself, you know, the best deals are going to be those that they rip live for you. Now, if you don't mind somebody else ripping it for you, sometimes you can find some really good deals here. So just another good place to keep an eye on. Yeah, and like I said, I don't usually use them too often anymore for actual purchases because they're usually not the best price I can find out the door. Let's move on to Hit Kings. Now this is one of the better places to shop for pre-sales that I've found. Have bought some stuff. Generally, the earlier you buy it from them, the better. But you kind of have to be aware of the market and judge the market if the wax price is going to go up or down on release day, right? And so that's sometimes hard to do, even for those of us who are paying attention to it every day, or at least me anyway, right? To know whether a pre-sale price is good 2 weeks in advance, you know, because the market just fluctuates so quickly these days. So Hit Kings is a good place. Let's go look, right? So easy to navigate right here. You just can scroll right down here, football pre-orders. And as you can see, all this stuff is sold out, but there has been some good deals to be had here if you bought early. For example, Select was up here for $500 for pre-sale until Blowout blew it up to $800, you know, the couple days before the first off the line Dutch auction, you know, pumped up that market. So you could find Select for $500 here, and I think I did get my box of Select from here for like $550, right as the wax prices started to shoot up. I came over here, found the deal, and pulled the trigger on it to make sure I had a box. But yeah, you can see they don't have a huge inventory, right? So some of the cons here is they have a small inventory. It's mostly new stuff, and once it's sold out, they move on to the next, right? So not that there's anything wrong with that, but if you know what you're looking for and you know what they generally have, it can be one of the places you keep an eye on. Another con is they don't generally receive product before release day. right? So if you do pre-order something here, there's a good chance it's not going to get shipped until release day, and sometimes after, right? Because he might receive it on release day and not be able to turn it around and ship it out to you till the next day. But again, if saving the money is more important than getting it a day earlier to you, this is often a good option. Responsive customers, some more pros that I didn't mention earlier, right? Free shipping over $1.99. There's no tax on this website. So again, what you see is what you get. Your price out the door. You can find really good deals on pre-sale. I already mentioned that. The site's pretty easy to navigate, as we've shown already. And I've responsive customer service. I've dealt with them a few times, right? Again, depending on what sport, you can go down here. That was the pre-sales. You can go look at 2022 football, and you can see what else he's got. And that's kind of basically all they have on their site. Okay, the next website we're going to talk about, RBI Crew 7. So I follow these guys often too, and often find deals on here. And so I do purchase from them probably, once or twice every month or two. It just depends on if I can find the best deal with them, and sometimes I can. They are tax-free. They ship fast, and the site's pretty easy to navigate and pretty straightforward, like many of the others. The only con I really have to here is they do charge like $20 for shipping on a hobby box, but that's pretty close to what it costs them to ship it with packaging and everything anyway. So again, if you can find the deal, just know that add $20 onto whatever that price is. There won't be any tax, but there will be that $20 shipping fee. So another good place to shop. Again, pretty easy. I usually go right down here to football boxes. I can see right here, it's generally sort by featured, or you can sort by new to old. And then you can kind of see what's come out recently and what the different prices are. And again, I often find good deals here, and I can find older stuff here too. I did recently buy 2 or 3 boxes from them of this year's product, but older releases, rookies and stars and stuff like that. So another good place to add to your repertoire. And then now we're going to get into some of my lesser known, what I consider some honey holes that I find really good deals on as well. And RBI Crews does qualify as one of them because I find deals on there pretty regularly as well. Grand Slam Collectibles. So as you can see here, here's Panini 1 for $3.99. They do not charge tax, right? So they do charge shipping. I think it's $12 for a hobby box for shipping. No matter how many you buy, I think it's $12. So $3.99, and as you could saw, DA Cardboard and Blowout were charging $4.65 and $4.75. So that's save yourself $60 right there at least, right? So you can find good deals. Now, there'll be some other, you have to compare. Sometimes they won't be the best deal, but sometimes they are. And then some pros of this website, there's no tax. I talked about that. They're fast shipping. They got a great customer service. I've dealt with them many times. You can find really good deals from time to time on older stuff too. Sometimes they'll put up some really good deals, and they'll go really fast because they've got a pretty big following too. They are on YouTube, right? That's where I think I first found them. So the owner, Nate, seems like a pretty genuine dude. I've watched a lot of his YouTube videos. That's how I start to follow him. But if you follow these guys, they'll post these special deals that they'll throw up. They're kind of like a lightning deal, and they will sell out real quick, right? But it'll generally be a good deal, well below market value. You know what you're looking for. You can snap it up, and if you're quick, right? Often when he's streaming live on YouTube, if he's doing breaks or something like that, that's a time where he'll throw something up there on his site for a good price for everybody who's watching, and they'll go snatch it up, right? Yeah, the only cons really are that he charges $12 for shipping, and that the good deals sell out real fast, so you got to pay attention, right? And be quick. And then the other thing is you just got to be educated, right? Some of their products are still higher priced than the rest of the market. So you just got to know what you're looking for and price compare whatever box it is compared to everything else. And here you see Chronicles at $309. So that's $40 cheaper than Blowout and Dave and Adams right there. Add $12 shipping, and you're still at $320. You're still saving yourself $25 and getting the same level of service, right? So yeah, just I buy a lot from here, and really all of these websites following as well, right? that pretty much wraps it up for Grand Slam. Let's move on to the collector store. Back to the collector store homepage so you see what you get when you land here. Again, they get all kinds of stuff. They do, you know, Magic and Pokemon and all this other stuff. They do all the sports. You can see all the stuff. Here's the main page right here. Again, I just generally go up here to sports. Go down here and I filter out by football. And then you can scroll up here and go by newest items. Right? And you can see Panini 1 here is higher price, is near the top of the market, $450. Where you can get it for $400 in several places right now, right? I do believe collector store charges a shipping fee too, $10 or $12, nothing unreasonable, but no tax. So again, you can find some good deals here. Yeah, Optics 624, and they've got a pretty decent, you know, there's 116 different football products they've got up here, so there's some inventory to scroll through. I often find good deals even on newer stuff. They have a large inventory, and again, good customer service like all of these places with the exception of Panini, right? Yeah, and then really the only con that I have is that they charge a small shipping fee, but that's really not a con when you consider if you're buying it cheaper than you are on the big guys who give you the free shipping. Okay, moving on to another little honey hole. Now this is probably a little lesser of a known one as well. Simsbury cards. So I've been shopping here for quite some time, and before the big blow up, I was buying a lot of good throwback football boxes off of this website. They used to have a really deep inventory of throwback stuff. Once the hobby blew up in 2021, late 2021, they started running out of all that stock, and I don't think they were able to replenish it, right? So, but I do shop here often as well. They're, you know, one of the pros is that they're lesser known. So, you know, their stuff doesn't run out of stock right away. Although I may be ruining that right now to my own dismay, right? They don't charge any tax. Decent inventory for older stuff at times. Good customer experience. Semi-fast shipping as well. Again, they ship it, you know, that day or the next day out of their site. And usually 3 to 4 days, it'll get to your house, right? So good experience there and no tax. Yeah, and the only cons is, again, it charges a small shipping fee. But again, I'm digging when I'm using that as a con, because I really think shipping fees it is what it is. And if they charge it, it's not a huge deal if you're not getting it free elsewhere for cheaper. So we can go through here. Again, their site is a little more complicated. You got to push this little thing over here, go down to sports, drop down to football, and then you can go down by year, and you can see what they've got up here. And you can see right here, here's a box of Select for $750, right? So everywhere else is charging $850 for it right now, right? The bigger guys are charging $900, blowout in those guys. Here it is for $750. You could have saved yourself $150, right? And again, it may get to you 1 or 2 days slower than it would have from Blowout or DA Card World, but there it is. Save yourself $150, right? Again, they do charge a small shipping fee, but not a huge deal, right? And then you just got to scroll down and scroll through and see what they've got. If you scroll down and dig deep, sometimes you can find some good stuff at good prices. Here's $240 for limited. Again, Panini was selling that for $249 on their website, plus tax. This is $240, so $250, basically equal to the price of Panini, but no tax, right? So save yourself, you know, what, $20 in taxes there. So just another, and here, like, here's an example. Blowout has PRIZM up there for $900 now on their website, right? Because the market just recently shot up from nowhere. I bought this box. I bought the last one of these for $700. It's sitting right here in front of me, and I'm going to rip it soon on camera. So, but $700, I saved $200, and most places you'll find are $850 or higher right now. But again, now it's out of stock because I bought the last one. But you can often find good deals looking at that. And you know, I'm a little bit torn about giving away these honey holes because now I probably won't find that deal if 10,000 of my best friends now know that that deal might be there too, right? So it is what it is. But, you know, just trying to help out the community. And I feel like if we know you can buy it for $700, less people will be apt to spend $850 on it. And maybe the market comes down and helps all of us, right? that's a long shot, and it's a outside theory, but I'm hopeful, right? Because I really think we're all getting gouged a little bit, right? So there we go, Simsberries. That's the pretty much the gamut on them. So now we'll move to one of the places where I probably buy more wax in this spot than anywhere else right now, or at least as of probably the last 6-8 months. I've bought more product from Frank J's Boxes on Twitter than anywhere else. And so I know a lot of people are freaked out by Twitter, right? And it's not an official website and all that stuff. Don't be freaked out. Just make sure you're following the right person. If you're following us on Twitter, you could probably find Frank J's Boxes because we follow them. But, you know, and just verify that you've got the right website. You have to be careful on Twitter because there's often people who, you know, try to spoof this thing and change one letter in their name of their @ and make it look the same and try to get your money, right? But if you're following them and you're getting notifications or whatever, you'll be good. So, pros of Frank J's Boxes. Now, let me just say, I've done a ton of business on here. And I do that business for a reason. Knowing all of what I've already shown you about prices already, this is often the cheapest and best place for me. Now, one of his advantages is that he ships that same day, and it's 2-day shipping, and it's free. No tax, no shipping, and he ships the same day, and it's 2-day shipping USPS, so it gets to me faster than anyone else. And it's usually the cheapest. Not always, but usually on release day is the cheapest, right? He'll usually find Panini's price once they announce their release price. He'll go $5 or $10 lower than it. That's the price he'll use. And then, but you don't pay tax or shipping, and it ships the same day and gets to you quicker, right? So big benefits there, which is why I spend so much time there. No tax, no shipping. All of what he has is newer product. We'll kind of scroll down it here. But you can see he'll send it out. Here's the soccer one, and he'll have his price list down here. You can click on it, and you can see what his prices are. And again, these are the out the door, ship to you cost total, right? That's soccer, and then you scroll down, and like a couple times a day, he'll retweet it out. So you'll see it, updates, right? There's baseball, there's basketball, other sports, racing, and stuff like that. And then you get down here, basketball again. See when the last football one was. Here's a football one. Again, he doesn't have much in stock because football wax seems to be the most popular thing right now. So he often sells out. So again, the pros, often the cheapest on release day, all of its newer product, no tax, no shipping, lightning fast shipping, right? The fastest really of all the places that I've talked about. And often prices are cheaper than at least Panini on release date. He's not always the cheapest. Sometimes I find it cheaper, right? If you're paying attention to all those other sites. But sometimes, a large amount of the time he is. Okay, some cons of him. A, you got to watch out for spoofers and make sure you've got the right one, right? But if you do know you're on the right, following the right person on Twitter, and you purchase from him, you're not going to have any issues, right? You use PayPal goods and services, you're covered, you got insurance, all that stuff. It's just a little different for people who are used to purchasing only off a legit website. The hot products, another con is the hot products sell out super fast. Like he usually, for West Coast time, he usually releases between 6 and 7 a.m. And if it's like the hot products, they will sell out before I can get to them, right? So you got to be really quick and go claim a product. But if you go look at it, follow him on Twitter, and kind of review those, you know, his previous posts, you'll be able to see how you're going to claim a box when it comes out. But again, not always the cheapest. As you can see, Panini Select is up here for $7.70, and again, they got it for what? And that's shipped to your door. They got it for what? $8.50 on DA Card World or more, right? And Blowout. So he's not always the cheapest. I mentioned that already. And then the only other thing is like if he doesn't sell out right away, sometimes he's a little slower to reduce prices than some of the other websites might be. So again, you just have to know what box you're looking for and know where to shop for those prices, right? So that's it. That's really my final honey hole. These are pretty much all the places that I shop for cards from. I know this was a bit of a long video. Hopefully you got something out of it. And if you'd like to see more of this type of content from us, just let me know. Again, I shop for wax, so we can break it down for a particular product. and kind of follow that product through the pre-sale process, see where the best deals are going to be, or where they were, or other things about pretty much wax shopping, right? Again, I do it often. I'm happy to do that if that's something you guys want to see. Let me know in the comments if this helped you out. And also, I'm not all knowing. These are the places I'm aware of. So if you know of other places where it's better for us to get wax for everybody in the community, where deals can be had, then put those in the comments below so everybody else can get the benefit of that as well. Again, if we all focus on paying lower prices, maybe we can bring the market down incrementally and help us all out a little bit, right? I think that'll wrap it up. Thanks everybody for watching. Really appreciate it. And again, let me know, hit that like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments below if this provided any value to you. And everybody enjoy your 4th of July. We will see you next time.